You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. Two of the best teams in the National League playing each other. It's the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. There's Kris Bryant getting some high fives with his teammates. This one coming up right now. Here's Julio Urias starting on the mound for the Dodgers. 2-1 record in 6 starts with a 4.38 ERA in 24 2/3 innings pitched. And leading off for the Cubs will be Kris Bryant.
Leading off tonight,
Rookie of the Year in 2015, Most Valuable Player winner in the National League in 2016, as well as World Series champion. He's versatile too, plays first base, third base, and all the outfield positions. Definitely favors hitting off lefties as well, so this matchup should be in his favor. First pitch of the ball game is down low for a ball. It's 1-0. The Dodgers are 21-12. They're second in the NL West, behind a Padres team that was red hot in the month of April and has brought that into May. The Dodgers and Padres are within a game of each other. The Padres just won 2 out of 3 games of a 3-game series that these two played in over the weekend. Now the Dodgers playing a 3-game series with the Cubs. They'll have an off day, and then on Friday they'll start another 3-game series here with the Padres. And depending on how these two do in their own respective series now, may determine who might gain a lead or whether these guys will be still close to each other. 2-2 pitch coming from Urias to Bryant. Up in the air, but foul, counts to leave it at 2. The Padres are in a 3-game series now with the Cardinals. And the Padres lost today. Strike 3 called on Kris Bryant. First strikeout for Urias. That's the first out of the ball game. And here comes the number 2 hitter, Anthony Rizzo. His .288 average is good for second on the Cubs. Rizzo also has 7 home runs and 13 RBIs. He's also been experimented with as a leadoff hitter, but Cubs trying to do something different this year, so Bryant the leadoff hitter and Rizzo batting second. Cubs under new manager David Ross, who right now is steering them in the correct direction. The Cubs in second place in the NL Central.
No.
Although the Cubs couldn't capitalize on the Brewers having a 7-game losing streak at the end of April, Cubs had their own extended losing streak, and that's why they're still in second place. And the Brewers were not caught by any NL Central team during their 7-game losing streak, and they're still at the top of the NL Central. 2-1 count on Anthony Rizzo. One of the franchise faces in MLB The Show 20. More of a veteran player now, is in the Padres system until he made his debut in 2011 and was traded over to the Cubs. He's been here ever since 2012. And he hits that pitch toward right center field. There's Cody Bellinger. He makes the catch. And now there are 2 outs in the top of the first inning. And with that, time to take a look at the starting lineup for the visiting Cubs. Steven Souza Jr. was a player signed out of free agency this year, and he's helping the outfield out a bit. Everybody else is a familiar name, just in a different place. There's Javier Baez standing in now, 2 outs, and the base is empty. First pitch misses down low, that's ball 1.
1 ball, no strike.
Baez .269 average with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs this season. The cover athlete of MLB The Show 20 as well. He's gotten a lot of attention. He started out as a free-swinging hit-or-miss player, and he's really turned himself into a disciplined superstar, great on defense, has more of a controlled bat now. As he fouls that pitch off, count is 1-2. Bases empty, 2 outs. Top of the first. And that misses outside. And that runs the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Baez down swinging, and that ends the top of the first inning. So the Cubs go down 1-2-3. Urias got 2 strikeouts. Moving to the bottom of the first inning, it's the Cubs 0 and the Dodgers coming to bat. Well, here's Yu Darvish on the mound, former Texas Ranger, and played for the Dodgers for half a season, went to the World Series with them, and then signed with the Cubs in the 2017-2018 free agency period. He's 3-2 so far in 7 starts this season, and has an ERA under 3. Been very respectable this year. And he'll face Mookie Betts to start the bottom of the first inning. Betts a .290 batting average, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs entering play. Former Most Valuable Player Award winner in the American League. Was traded from the Red Sox to the Dodgers this offseason. And he certainly bolsters their outfield as he grounds that one to shortstop. Baez throws to Rizzo. Betts is out on 1 pitch. And that's how the bottom of the first begins. Starting lineup now for the Dodgers. Well, other than the big name at the top of the order, everybody else is a familiar face on this team. Will Smith and Gavin Lux, some younger players who made their Major League debuts last season, are in the bottom of the lineup, but everybody else at the top is established, and some even noted as superstars. Same with this man in the box. It's Max Muncy. Muncy did not start his career with the Dodgers. He made his debut with the Oakland Athletics. Didn't make any progress in their system, was dealt over to Los Angeles. And he started playing more first base, and Cody Bellinger then branched out to the outfield. And Muncy really broke out in 2018. He solidified himself as an infielder for the Dodgers. Can play first and second base, but has primarily been a first baseman since coming over here. 2-1 pitch from Yu Darvish. That's inside, counts 3-1. Veteran third baseman Justin Turner's on deck. It's like we mentioned earlier, the Cubs are in second place in the NL Central, 1.5 games back of the Brewers with an 18-17 record as Muncy takes ball 4. But the Brewers were on a losing streak toward the end of April, but nobody in the NL Central could capitalize on it. They all went on some extent of a losing streak. The Pirates had the biggest one in April. They had an 11-game losing streak. But nobody's passed the Brewers yet, but the Cubs the closest, 1.5 games back. The Dodgers are tied with the Padres right now at the top of the NL West. The Padres lost today to the Cardinals. If I correct myself, the Dodgers are a game back of the Padres, but if the Dodgers win this game, these two will be tied for the NL West lead. 0-2 pitch coming to Justin Turner. Popped up and foul, count still 0-2. Justin Turner started his career with the New York Mets. Made his debut with the Dodgers in 2014. He's been their third baseman ever since. He's been a part of 6 of the 7 teams that won the championship, won the NL West championship. The Dodgers have won the NL West 7 years in a row. The Padres challenging them for that early on, but It's just a matter of who will blink first. These two teams were red hot in the month of April. And will play in a couple series to start in May. The Padres already won the first of the two series over the weekend. They won 2-1. And strike three called on Justin Turner. Yu Darvish with his first strikeout. And there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning.
The center fielder, Cody Bellinger.
But the Padres and Dodgers will play each other again this weekend. A 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But instead of Petco Park, it'll be here at Dodger Stadium.
No.
That pitch misses outside to a former Rookie of the Year and a former Most Valuable Player. Each of these teams has one of those, which is quite rare. But Cody Bellinger won the Rookie of the Year award in the National League in 2017 and won the Most Valuable Player award in 2019. As he rips that pitch foul a long way down the right field line, counts even at 1. But the Cubs have Chris Bryant, who won the Rookie of the Year award in 2015 in the National League, and then won a Most Valuable Player award in 2016. Both established players now and still on a superstar level. Two-one pitch coming to Bellinger. That's too low, counts 3-1.
3-1.
Bellinger came up and started his career as a first baseman. He replaced an injured Adrian Gonzalez, who was a feared hitter and a good first baseman at one point in his career. But with Cody Bellinger's success, Gonzalez never played again in a Dodgers uniform. Bellinger walks there. But now with Max Muncy's breakout few seasons, Bellinger's been a consistent outfielder. Played right for a little bit, but with the acquisition of Mookie Betts, he's moved into center field to play there consistently. And completing the trio in the outfield is Jock Peterson. He bats now. 2 outs, 2 on. Max Muncy on second. Cody Bellinger on first.
Ball.
That's ball 1. Peterson broke into the league in 2015 as a center fielder. Now plays more consistently in left field. Favors hitting against righties for sure, and he's still a feared power bat in this Dodgers lineup. The Dodgers have had such talented teams over the last decade, and they've been criticized frequently for not reaching the ultimate goal, which is a World Series championship. They made it to the World Series in 2017 and 18, but lost both times. One-two pitch coming to Jock Peterson. Swing and a miss. Yu Darvish with 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the first inning. And that helps him escape trouble. The inning is over. The Dodgers get no runs on no hits. Got 2 walks, but stranded them both. Going to the second inning, no score here at Dodger Stadium. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. Top of the second inning rolling around, and the middle of the Cubs order due up. Kyle Schwarber, Wilson Contreras, and Steven Souza Jr. all scheduled to bat.
Ball.
Kyle Schwarber
1-0.
had quite a feel-good story in 2016. He injured his leg
Playing 11.
to start the 2016 season, and he was out for most of the season, but when it was time to pick the Cubs World Series roster,
2 balls, 1 strike.
Joe Madden, the manager at the time, decided to put him on the roster and have him play the designated hitter role when the Cubs were on the road. And the Cubs had 4 games in Cleveland because Cleveland had home field advantage for that year. And he hit pretty well. Strikes out there. Yuri, 3 strikeouts. 1 out, top of the second inning.
The catcher, number 40, Wilson
He got him on the breaking ball, just kind of chased it. Started around the knees and then just broke downward. Schwarber fooled one out. Here's Wilson Contreras. Contreras broke into the league in 2016. He and David Ross were platoon catchers during that World Series year. But since David Ross has retired, Contreras has been the primary catcher for this Cubs team. And now Contreras still gets to spend time with David Ross because he's their manager now. 0-2 pitch. Hit in the air and foul. Counts to 0-2. And as noted on the graphic, Contreras on a 6-game hitting streak entering this game. He's quickly down 0-2. Well-placed pitch, but Urias doesn't get the benefit of the call. Counts 1-2. One out, bases empty, top of the second inning. Two teams competing for the top of their respective divisions in this game. Still early in the year. Dodgers a game back of the NL West. The Cubs a game and a half back of the NL Central lead. 2-2 pitch coming. Hit in the air toward left center field, and nobody's going to run that one down. It's going to fall. Jock Peterson plays it off the wall. Contreras running into second base. And he's on with a one-out double. First hit for the Cubs, and we'll take a look at doubles leaders entering play. Wilson Contreras had 7 coming into this game. He extends his hitting streak to 7, by the way, but now he's tied for second best on this Cubs team with 8. Ties Javier Baez. Here's Steven Souza Jr. facing Julio Urias, and he takes that pitch for a strike. Counts 0-1. Souza Jr., former member of the Washington Nationals and Arizona Diamondbacks, now playing for the Cubs. Signed with them in the offseason. And he is playing a platoon role with Jason Hayward. Souza Jr. typically starts against left-handed pitching, and Jason Hayward starts against right-handed pitching. Hayward had quite a great season with the Cardinals in 2015, and the Cubs scooped him up in 2016, but since then he's been on a decline. Hasn't really been the same hitter. Still Hayward a good defensive outfielder, but flied into left center field. Jock Peterson and Cody Bellinger running after it. Bellinger calls off Peterson and miraculously makes that catch. Contreras tagged at second, but didn't attempt to advance, and now there are 2 outs.
The center fielder, number 8, Ian Happ.
And with that, that'll bring up the number 7 hitter and center fielder of the Cubs, Ian Happ. Switch hitter batting from the right side. Happ 7 for 21 over the last 6 games. Batting .237 with 6 home runs on the year. 2 outs, runner in scoring position. Swinging to miss, strike 1.
No ball, 1 strike.
Happ, a first-round draft pick of the Cubs in 2015. He is a versatile player, can play most infield positions and all the outfield positions.
Ball.
Now he's in a platoon role with Albert Almora Jr. But getting the start in this one against the Dodgers. Takes strike 2 over the middle of the plate. Wilson Contreras on second base. He doubled. Happ at the plate, and he takes inside. Counts even 2-2.
2-2.
2-2 pitch. Swinging a foul ball. Count remains even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Contreras on second got the first hit for either club in this one. Each team went hitless in the first inning.
Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And Happ has worked the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Daniel Descalzo on deck. Full count pitch. Hit in the air softly toward right field. Betts charges. Betts makes the catch. And the top of the second's over. No runs on a hit for the Cubs and 1 runner left on base. Moving to the bottom of the second inning. It's no score here at Dodger Stadium between the Dodgers and the Cubs. Here comes Corey Seager. 6, 7, 8 hitters, 2 up for the Dodgers. Seager, Will Smith, and Gavin Lux all scheduled to bat. And Seager has had a red-hot start to the year. 326 average, 10 home runs, 26 RBIs. And he's close to the lead in the National League for RBI totals. Max Muncy, with his 12 home runs, is at the top of the National League. His 2 teammates. Dodgers have a lot of run producers in their lineup. And is a double. This one slightly more of an advantage for the Dodgers because nobody's out. It's a leadoff double. And he just split the gap perfectly, Darvish. Not a fan of that. But here comes Will Smith. Will Smith made his Major League debut last season, and he was the backup to Russell Martin at the beginning of the year and was the regular starter during the postseason. And he got to learn from one of baseball's best in Russell Martin.
No.
Smith yesterday went 1 for 3. That was in the Dodgers' loss to the Padres. Now, as for the Cubs, they opened the month playing the Diamondbacks, won the first 2 games, but lost yesterday by a score of 13-5. 1-1 pitch. On the ground and foul. The count's 1-2. One-two pitch to the Dodgers' young catcher. Chops it back to the mound. Darvish elects to throw to Rizzo at first. Meanwhile, Seager advances from second to third. And that's the first out of this bottom of the second inning. Here's Gavin Lux on a 6-game hitting streak, batting above 300. One of their younger infielders playing second base in this one. Dodgers haven't had too much consistency at the second base position ever since they lost Chase Utley to retirement. They've had Kike Hernandez try to fill in at that spot, Chris Taylor. But nobody consistent yet. They're hoping that Lux can be that consistent player for them. And he's had a good month of April and still batting over 300 entering May. Strikes out there against Yu Darvish, though, who now has 3 strikeouts. And now there are 2 away in the bottom of the second inning.
The pitcher, Julio Urias.
Here's the pitcher, Julio Urias, standing in. He's batting 300. He's gotten some hits in the few at-bats he's had this season. Oh, one pitch is popped up and foul. The count's 0-2. Urias, an international free agent signing out of Mexico. Spent all of his career with the Dodgers.
Ball.
He's usually been in a long relief role, but he found his way into the rotation this season. So far, he hasn't disappointed. He's been on point for the most part. 1-2 pitch from Darvish. Popped up and foul. One-two pitch. Line drive and foul, and Urias extending this at bat. Counts 1-2.
Ball.
And good discipline there. The count's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Corey Seager's on third base. He doubled to begin this half inning and then advanced to third on a ground out. Now Urias milking this at bat out. Counts 2-2, and that misses outside. Top of the Dodgers orders on deck, and Yu Darvish has worked the count full against his mound opponent. Got him swinging on the payoff pitch. And the Dodgers strand a runner in scoring position. No runs on a hit for the Dodgers, 1 runner left on. Moving to the third inning. No score between the Cubs and the Dodgers. Oh, there's Heidi Watney, and she's about to pull up a graphic that hopefully I can explain because her microphone doesn't work right now. But there's some pitching statistics from the Dodgers, and you see a lot of top spots in baseball for them. Best team ERA, best team WHIP, best and lowest team average against opponents. Best in the National League for walks allowed, or least amount of walks allowed.
Leading off for the Cubs.
They've got a bright combination of quality pitching and run-producing offense. 8-9-1 hitters, however, do it for the Cubs to start the third inning. Daniel Descalso, Yu Darvish, and Chris Bryant all scheduled to bat this half inning. Descalso has played for a few teams in his career. He's played for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks and was signed to be a veteran defensive player for this Cubs team. However, he has been quite an offensive player as well. He's been doing well at getting on base specifically. He's ranked second among National League players in on-base percentage. Also has an average of .284, so getting a few knocks to reach base as well. Counts even at 2.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top of the 5th. Top of the 3rd, excuse me. Still no score. Each team has been limited to 1 hit early. And Urias gets himself another strikeout. Descalso now the latest victim. 4 strikeouts for Urias through the first 3 innings. 1 out, top of the 3rd. And that'll bring up the pitcher's spot. It's Yu Darvish coming to the plate. In the bottom of the 3rd. Top of the 3rd. Goodness. Top of the order coming back up now for the Cubs. It's Chris Bryant. Swings and misses at strike 1. Bryant 0 for 1 against Urias. Struck out in his first at bat. And he lines that pitch toward left field, right into the shift. Peterson able to make the play, and the top of the 3rd is over. The Cubs, no runs on, no hits, no runners left on base. Moving to the bottom of the 3rd, it's the Cubs 0 and the Dodgers 0. Top of the order, set to lead off for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and Justin Turner. Betts 0 for 1 against Yu Darvish, and he swings and misses at strike 1. Mookie Betts was on the road to getting a Triple Crown in 2018. As you saw in that graphic, he led the league in average. But J.D. Martinez, his teammate, stopped him from getting a Triple Crown. Martinez had more home runs than Betts did. Martinez had 45, Betts had 42 to finish that season. And Darvish strikes him out there for the first out.
The first baseman, Max
Darvish now at 5 strikeouts as well. Him and Urias right now matching each other pitch for pitch. They've each given up 1 hit. And they've each struck out 5 to this point. Here's Max Muncy.
Outside.
Darvish got in a bit more trouble than Urias did, though, in the first inning. Darvish let 2 on via the walk. So Darvish has given up 3 base runners as compared to Urias giving up just 1.
No.
Inside 2-0. Max Muncy walked in his first plate appearance. Tied for 7th among National League players with 25 runs batted in. And he's also toward the top of the leaderboard in home runs. Two-one pitch coming from Darvish. Hit well but foul behind the plate, and the count's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chopped it foul, count still 2-2. That's inside, and the count run full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Turner on deck. Two teams playing each other that have succeeded in the 2010s decade. Popped into the air. Wilson Contreras makes the catch, and that's out number 2. The Cubs won the National League Central twice, made playoffs 4 times in the 2010s. The Dodgers won the National League West 7 times from 2013 to 2019, and that streak is still pending. Moving into 2020, here's Justin Turner. The Cubs made it to the World Series and won the World Series 1 time. The Dodgers made it to the World Series twice in the 2010s and didn't win any times. 0-1 pitch. On the ground right side, that gets through. Justin Turner, second hit for the Dodgers. It's a 2-out single.
Now batting, the center fielder, Cody.
And that'll bring up the reigning most valuable player in the National League. It's Cody Bellinger. 2 outs, runner on first. Bellinger walked his first time up. He has started the year out slow. He's batting .229. And not really toward the top of any category among National League players. But still batting cleanup for this Dodgers team in hopes that he'll get out of this funk, at least to his standards. It's a funk. Counts 0-2. Was a 2013 draft pick of the Dodgers. Made his day, really broke out with the Dodgers in 2017. Chops that pitch on the ground left side. Chris Bryant elects to throw to Descalso at second. Turner's forced out, and the 3rd inning is over. The Dodgers, no runs on a hit, and 1 runner left on base. After 3 full innings of play, no score here at Dodger Stadium. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Gallis. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more live streams. 3 guaranteed games every day here on MLB's virtual network. Get notified about it. And also, if you're looking for further news on this league, be sure to follow the Twitter page at Virtual MLB, where streams are posted there, as well as other news such as injuries, trade updates, and any other pertinent information that goes on in this league. Check them out both at Virtual MLB on Twitter and MLB Virtual Network on YouTube. Counts even 1-1 on Anthony Rizzo. 1-1, excuse me, but that's hit out to left field. Jock Peterson makes the catch, and that's the first out of the 4th inning.
Now batting.
And with 1 out, that'll bring up the number 3 hitter of the Cubs. It's Javier Baez. 0 for 1. He struck out against Urias Beck in the first inning, now batting .267. His on-base percentage still above 300. Takes inside, ball 1. Baez started his career at second base, made his debut in 2014. Played shortstop consistently for the first time in his career in 2019. That was last season. And starts this year as their shortstop, Daniel Descalso, covering second base now. Cubs have a solid infield with Bryant at third base, Baez at short, Descalso at second, and Rizzo at first. That stays fair down the right field line. Betts will chase after it as Baez makes his way towards second base. Betts throws it into Lux, and that's a one-out double for Javier Baez, second hit
Left fielder, Kyle
for the Cubs in this game, and Baez has now tied Rizzo for the Cubs' lead in doubles this season. They both have 9 now after this. Here's Kyle Schwarber. He's 0 for 1 against Urias in this game. And he chops that first pitch foul, strike 1. Schwarber came through the Cubs system as a catcher and has since been converted to be an outfielder, and Baez goes from second base. Smith's throw down is well late. Turner couldn't tag him in time before he got on the base, and now Baez in a more prime position to score at third base with Schwarber at the plate. More scenarios that he can be driven in. 2-1 count on Kyle Schwarber. Baez now with 3 stolen bases. Swing and a miss, counts even at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Baez on third base. He doubled and then stole third. And that's chopped foul. Count still even at 2. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two teams. That pitch can't find the zone, and the count is run full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wilson Contreras, who doubled in his last at bat, is on deck. Three-two pitch coming. Hit in the air on the infield. Max Muncy makes the catch. And now there are 2 outs in the top of the 4th.
Now batting, catcher, Wilson Contreras.
And so now with 2 outs, Wilson Contreras will come to the plate. He doubled in the second inning. His last and only at bat so far. Will face Urias for the second time. First pitch to him. That's a strike. Counts 0-1. A well-placed breaking ball. And between these two, Contreras 2 for 5 off of him. His first extra base hit was tonight. That's down low. Counts even at 1. That misses low. Counts 2-1 on Contreras. Won the World Series with the Cubs during his rookie season. And their starting catcher ever since. Entering his 5th season now in Major League Baseball. 2-1. That's outside. Counts 3-1. Steven Souza Jr. is on deck. Urias working upwards now of 70 pitches. 68 as of now through 3 2/3 official innings. That finds the zone. Counts full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Javier Baez is still on third base. Payoff pitch coming to Contreras. Hit well to the right side. Gets over the head of Gavin Lux. Contreras is aboard with an RBI single. Baez scores from third. The Cubs strike first. It's 1-0. Take a look at this pitch. Wasn't a terrible pitch, but it was belt high. Over the outside, Contreras extended his arms well, went with the pitch, and nets himself an RBI. And now Jimmy Nelson and Ross Stripling are warming up in the Dodgers bullpen. Here's Steven Souza Jr. down the left field line. That's close to the foul pole. And that's ruled a foul ball. Oh, that was extremely close. The ruling on the field is a foul ball, and that will stand. Souza Jr. made a bid for his first home run of the season, but the ball's foul.
Ball, no. Playing 11.
There's Nelson and Stripling warming up, both right-handed pitchers. Both considered long relievers as well. 1-1 to Steven Souza Jr. On the ground left side, Corey Seager plays it. Throws to Lux covering second. Out is Contreras. And the inning is over. The top of the fourth sees a run scored on a couple of hits by the Cubs. One runner left on base. Going to the bottom of the fourth, it's the Cubs 1 and the Dodgers 0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the Dodgers in this half inning. Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, and Will Smith. All scheduled to bat. Swing and a miss count is 0-1. Peterson 0 for 1 off Yu Darvish. And hits him on the second pitch of that plate appearance. And Peterson's aboard.
Shortstop, Corey Seager.
And thank goodness that didn't get him in the knee. Those really hurt. Usually getting hit on the shin, in the back. On a forearm or bicep is the best, but when you start getting hit in those joints, for the smaller bones, that's what start to hurt, and that's what gets you hit with complicated injuries. Here's Corey Seager. He doubled in his first at-bat off Darvish. And he swings and misses for strike one. Seager did not participate in the 2018 World Series. He got hurt during the 2018 season. And that was when the Dodgers went out and traded with the Orioles for Manny Machado. And he became their shortstop for the rest of 2018, more or less a rental for them, because he hit free agency and signed the big bucks in San Diego in that offseason. That pitch misses inside, counts 1-2. Machado and Harper had one of the biggest contract holdouts as well in Major League Baseball history, and they really got rewarded for it. Two of the biggest contracts in all of baseball, and Harper signed the biggest. 13-year, $330 million deal. Harper signed with the Phillies, and Machado got signed to a 10-year, $300 million contract. Of course, that's old news now. But it was exhilarating at the time when news broke that they actually signed with teams. Seager strikes out there. He's now 1 for 2, and with that, take a look at the top pitch speed comparison in each of the starting pitchers throwing in the high 90s. Certainly expected from these two. Urias already has given up a run, though, despite having the higher velocity. Will Smith coming to the plate. Yu Darvish hit Jock Peterson to start this half inning. Corey Seager just struck out. And that pitch misses inside. That's ball one. Will Smith has driven in 4 over the last 6 games. He's expected to be the Dodgers' catcher of the future. Made his debut last season. In a platoon role initially with Russell Martin, but with Martin not having a contract renewed, Smith is the catcher. And that hit down the left field line. Jock Peterson stops at third base. Into second is Will Smith. He's got his first hit of the evening. His 5th double of the season. It's just a bit out in front of that fastball. But the ball steered itself inside the third base line. And stayed fair. So now 2 runners in scoring position. Here's Gavin Lux.
Ball.
Takes ball 1.
1 ball, no strike.
Lux has driven in some runs this season. Average is now .299. Gavin Lux has 16 RBIs on the season. Tied for 5th best on the Dodgers team. And he hits that pitch well towards center field. On the run is the center fielder, Happ. He makes the play. However, Peterson tags from third and scores. And the Dodgers immediately tie the game. The score is 1-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Here comes Julio Urias. Urias gave up a run in the top of the 4th inning.
Ball.
Gave up a 2-out single to Wilson Contreras. Now Yu Darvish
No.
hit a batter, gave up a double, and gave up a sacrifice fly. Game's tied at 1. And it's eerily coincidental how Darvish and Urias are matching each other pitch for pitch in this game. But score tied at 1 now. Will Smith remains on second base. 2-1 count to Urias, who extended his last at bat off Darvish as well. Makes contact with that, fouls it off. Count 2-2. Foul tipped into the mitt of Wilson Contreras. Urias down on strikes. And the inning is over. The Dodgers score a run and tie the game after 4 innings. 1-1's the score heading into the 5th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. Heidi Watney about to come onto the screen, but unfortunately we won't have the luxury of hearing what she has to say.
Your attention, please.
So Julio Urias is done.
Number 4.
He and Yu Darvish on their score lines really close to each other. They've each given up 1 earned run on 3 hits, but Urias is out of the game, and one of the Dodgers' long relief pitchers in Jimmy Nelson will now pitch, and he'll face the bottom of this Cubs order. Begin the 5th. Ian Happ, the leadoff hitter of this half inning, fouls that pitch off. It'll be Happ, then Daniel Descalso, and the pitcher spot, Yu Darvish. Jimmy Nelson, former Milwaukee Brewer, made their rotation when he played there. But on the Dodgers, he's in a long relief role. The Dodgers have a very stacked rotation with pitchers such as Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias. Happ on the ground left side. There's Corey Seager. He throws to Max Muncy, and out at first is Ian Happ. That's the first out of the 5th inning.
The second baseman, Daniel Descalso.
And with 1 out, Daniel Descalso comes to the plate. Now he's batting .281, but his on-base percentage is up in the 400s. He's been an on-base machine early in the season, which is quite unexpected because the Cubs primarily signed him to be a utility infielder because he has been a quality defensive player in his career, but putting up some quality offensive numbers, getting on base, certainly important in this game. And he's been doing that consistently out of the Cubs' 8th spot. He's facing Jimmy Nelson for the first time in this game. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And now there are 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning.
The pitcher, number 11, Yu Darvish.
And now with 2 outs, top of the 5th inning, Yu Darvish comes to the plate.
Ball.
Takes ball 1 upstairs, count is 1-0. Darvish struck out in the 3rd inning. Has exactly 1 hit in 16 at-bats. Darvish was an international signing. Of course, Ichiro Suzuki set the standard for Japanese talent. Darvish was just another one of the greats from the country of Japan. Two-one count from Jimmy Nelson is on the way.
2-2.
Counts even now, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 5th inning. Jimmy Nelson pitching in his 1st inning, replaced Julio Urias after 4 full. On the ground left side, Justin Turner takes his time, throws to Muncy. Darvish is out at 1st, and the top of the 5th inning is over. No runs on, no hits, and nobody left on for the Cubs. Moving to the bottom of the 5th inning, it's still 1-1. Top of the Dodgers order, due up in the bottom of the 5th. Heidi Watney's about to come back on the screen, but her microphone is still malfunctioning in this game, so yeah, sorry about that. Her insight is certainly always appreciated, just not available right now. But I'm Nicholas Callis. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. Top of the Dodgers order coming up. Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and Justin Turner all scheduled to bat. Strike 1 on Mookie Betts. Leading off in this game, he's 0 for 2. And he's led off in every inning he's come to bat. He led off in the 1st, the 3rd, and now in the 5th. Strike 2. Hit in the air softly towards center field. There's Ian Happ. He makes the catch, and that's the 1st out of the bottom of the 5th. And Mookie Betts now 0 for 3 as the Dodgers leadoff hitter.
The first baseman, Max Muncy.
Here comes Max Muncy. He walked in his first plate appearance and got out in his 2nd. Takes that breaking ball inside, ball 1. Facing Yu Darvish now for the 3rd time this game. Has struck out against him 3 times and has just 1 hit. That's a strike. Counts even at 1. One pitch. Wow. Quite the swing. Count is 1-2. 1-2 pitch coming from Yu Darvish. Hit in the air and foul. Count still 1-2. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two. These teams will play consecutively, and then they'll each have an off day on Thursday the 7th. Swing and a miss by Max Muncy. Yu Darvish with another strikeout. Make that 8 on his score line. There are now 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th.
The third baseman, Justin.
The Cubs, over the weekend, will play the Nationals at home. So this series with the Dodgers is the end of their road trip. The Dodgers starting a homestand in this series, playing the Cubs in a 3-game series, and then we'll finish it off with the Padres for a 3-game series over the weekend before going to Philadelphia. Play made there. Justin Turner is out at 1st, And the fifth inning has come to a conclusion. No runs, no hits, nobody left on for the Dodgers. These two still deadlocked on their score lines heading into the sixth inning. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis.
The third baseman.
The Cubs expected to bring up the top of the order for this sixth inning. Kris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, and Javier Baez. Bryant is 0 for 2, struck out and lined out in this one. Each of these teams have one run on 3 hits to this point in the game. The only difference is that the Dodgers went to their bullpen much earlier. And the Cubs still working with their starter, Yu Darvish. Joe Kelly, Scott Alexander, some middle relief pitchers now in the bullpen. 0-1 to Kris Bryant, swing and a miss, counts 0-2. Jimmy Nelson working in his second inning now out of the bullpen. Facing Kris Bryant for the first time this game, and misses high with that 0-2. Count is 1-2 now. 1-2 coming. That's outside, counts even at 2. This is the first season that the Cubs have really used Kris Bryant as a leadoff hitter. He's normally been a middle-of-the-order hitter for them, but with the lack of success the Cubs have had over the last couple seasons, they're trying to spice things up. And look at that, Bryant on base for the first time in this game. He works a leadoff walk here in the sixth.
The first baseman, number 44, Anthony.
Let's watch this pitch sequence. A couple of good placed pitches, and then really just lost him. A couple of those weren't poorly placed either, just that third pitch high and the pitch that walked him, the slider that ran too far out of the zone. There's Anthony Rizzo. Retired by balls hit in the air in his first 2 at-bats. Facing Jimmy Nelson for the first time. And also Nelson, a right-handed pitcher, so that gives Rizzo an advantage. He's certainly better against hitting off of righties than lefties. Rizzo falls behind in the count, fouls that pitch off. Count is 0-2. Kris Bryant on first base, he just walked. That's inside, counts 1-2. Anthony Rizzo, been the Cubs' first baseman since 2012, was a part of their World Series championship in 2016. And hits that pitch toward right field. Mookie Betts on the run. He makes the catch. Bryant didn't tag. He'll go back to first base. And there was one out in the top of the sixth inning. And with that, Javier Baez will come to the plate. Baez 1 for 2. He doubled and scored on the Wilson Contreras single back in inning number 4. He also stole third base. Quite a daring move with one out, but he did it. And it panned out because he ended up scoring. Baez 3 for 10 in his last 10 at-bats. He's been producing as the number 3 hitter of the Cubs, and he's been their consistent number 3 hitter. Muncy plays that one, throws to Seager for 1, and back to Muncy. Double play, and the top of the sixth inning is over. The Cubs got a base runner on the walk, but was erased on that double play. Moving to the bottom of the sixth inning, still 1-1. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. The Cubs bullpen is active for the first time as the middle of the Dodgers order comes up here in the sixth. Cody Bellinger, Jock Peterson, and Corey Seager. Bellinger, a Gold Glove Award winner in 2019 in the outfield. Played right field, but also played center, and he started this season playing center field mostly. Hits that against the shift, but pops it up. Chris Bryant able to make that play, and that's the first out of the bottom of the 6th inning.
Peterson.
Here comes Jock Peterson. Peterson 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch and scored on a sacrifice fly hit by Gavin Lux back in the 4th inning.
Ball. 1-0.
One ball, no strike pitch coming from Yu Darvish. He's given up just 1 earned run on 3 hits so far. And the count's 2-0. Popped up. Wilson Contreras getting a gauge for it. And he makes the catch. 2 pop-outs begin the bottom of the 6th inning.
The batter, number 5. Shortstop.
That'll bring up Corey Seager. Seager doubled in the 2nd inning, got out in his 2nd at bat. But still batting .345 and still has 10 home runs on the year. Takes ball 1 low, counts 1 ball and no strikes. Seager 4th best in the National League with a .684 slugging percentage. Takes strike 1 over the inside, count is even at 1-1. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two teams. Game 2 will be tomorrow. Game 3 will be on Wednesday. These two will have an off day on Thursday. The Cubs will play the Nationals over the weekend. Meanwhile, the Dodgers will play here at home against the Padres in a 3-game weekend series. Both these teams in 2nd place right now in their respective divisions. The Cubs 1.5 games back of the Brewers, and the Dodgers a game back of the Padres. Seager strikes out there against Darvish, and that completes the 6th inning. Each team still with 1 run on 3 hits, going to the 7th. Jimmy Nelson remains in the ballgame to pitch for the Dodgers, and he will face the middle of the Cubs order. Kyle Schwarber, Wilson Contreras, and Steven Souza Jr. all scheduled to bat in this half inning. Schwarber 0 for 2. He's coming up to the plate now. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Jimmy Nelson yet to give up a run. And hasn't let on many base runners either. Entering now his 3rd inning out of the bullpen. He's one of the long relief pitchers on this Dodgers roster. He's a former starter with the Brewers, so stamina is not a problem for him. 1-1 count. That's fouled off. Count 1-2. Hit one on the right side, but foul. Nelson worked a couple pitches outside and then tried to go inside. The infield is shifted toward the right, anticipating Schwarber to pull the ball. And he chops that pitch foul and extends the at-bat. Counts 1-2. Well, he hit his spot just out of the strike zone. Counts even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Kyle Schwarber, left fielder of the Cubs. That's outside, counts full 3-2. Wilson Contreras is on deck. He is 2 for 2. And with 1 out, here is Wilson Contreras. Doubled in his first at-bat, hit an RBI single in his second at-bat. He's facing Jimmy Nelson for the first time in this game.
No.
Counts 1 ball and no strikes now on Wilson Contreras. Nelson consistently pitched against the Cubs being a former Brewer. So these faces are familiar, especially since the Cubs roster has years that have been on it. Ever since their World Series run, Contreras was a part of that team. So was Rizzo, Bryant, Jason Hayward. Got him swinging. Jimmy Nelson gets the first two hitters to strike out in this top of the 7th inning. And now there are 2 outs.
Number 21, Steven Souza Jr.
Yeah, sometimes a high curveball can be a quality pitch if you spot it right. And Nelson did spot it right. It starts up at the eyes and then drops right toward the top of the zone where a hitter believes he can get on top of it. But once it breaks toward the outside part of the plate, an easy pitch to swing and miss at, and Contreras fell victim there. Now here's Steven Souza Jr., 1-0 count to him. He's 0 for 2. In his last at-bat, he hit a ball down the left field line that was perceived to be fair, but the umpires ruled it foul. It would have been his first home run of the season, but was not fair and ended up getting out. Also gets out in that at-bat. Turner makes the play, and the top of the 7th is over. It's stretch time here in Los Angeles. 1 run each team has going to the bottom of the 7th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
Yu Darvish is done. Here's Ryan Tepera.
Chicago.
He's coming into pitch now. Has pitched in 17 games, has a 6.75 ERA in 16 full innings pitched, and no record for him. He hasn't typically been in many spots where he's been asked to go a long time or been asked to save a ball game, but this is one of those cases where he has a goal to just keep this game where it is going into the next inning. He'll face the bottom of the Dodgers order to begin this half inning. Will Smith, Gavin Lux, and then the Dodgers pitcher's spot. 1-0 pitch. That's too high, counts 2-0. Each team scored in the 4th inning. The Cubs got a run on a Wilson Contreras RBI single. And the Dodgers got their run on a Gavin Lux sacrifice fly. Will Smith had a hand in the Dodgers scoring in the 4th inning. He had a double that advanced Peterson from first to third. And then Peterson scored on the Lux sacrifice fly. So neither of these teams has scored since the 4th. Dodgers starter Julio Urias went 4 full innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits. Yu Darvish pitched 6 full innings. He gave up 1 run on 3 hits. There have been limited base runners since then as well, but there was 1 hit by pitch and a few walks, but no hits for either side since the 4th inning. Pitching staffs have been tough. Now take a look at that. On cue, Will Smith breaks that streak. He's got the first hit from either side in quite a while. And it's a leadoff single to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
Now batting, number 48.
Kyle Ryan, Jeremy Jeffress throwing in the Cubs bullpen. This is Tepera's first inning out of the bullpen. And Gavin Lux hits it over the head of Anthony Rizzo, and he's got himself a single. Dodgers have set the table with nobody out. Lux now with a 7-game hitting streak. Watch this again. This took an awkward bounce. It looked like it hit off the ground. Yeah, look at that. That took a weird bounce off the ground and speared itself right over the head of Anthony Rizzo. Jimmy Nelson will stay in the game. Pops the first pitch up, trying to bunt. The Dodgers had Julio Urias bat in the 4th inning. He made the final out of the inning with a runner in scoring position, and then they took him out for the 5th. So whatever Dave Roberts is thinking is definitely unorthodox, but Nelson bunts that pitch foul, and he's down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Will Smith is on second base. He singled to lead off this half inning, and then Gavin Lux followed Smith's hit up with a single of his own. And now the number 9 spot, and Jimmy Nelson is up to the plate. Nelson hitless on the season. Not showing, now he's showing bunt. And he bunts it foul, so he strikes out. And that leaves
Now batting,
Smith and
right
Lux
fielder,
stranded
Mookie
where they are for the moment.
Betts.
And with one out, here's Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is 0 for 3. This is the first time he's not leading off an inning. He batted first in the first, third, and fifth innings. But now bats here on a run-scoring opportunity. He gets hit with that pitch. And that loads the bases now for the Dodgers. There have been a couple Dodgers hitters hitting this game. Jock Peterson was one of them. He got hit earlier, and now Mookie Betts gets hit right up on the back. A dangerous spot to be hit. And Tepera has now put himself in a dangerous situation. The middle of the Dodgers order is coming up. Max Muncy batting now with the bases loaded. Muncy at the moment tied for 7th in the National League in RBIs. He also is one of the leaders in home runs this season. He has a double-digit home run total. 0-1 pitch. Chopped on the ground right side. Rizzo to Baez for one. And that throw was offline. Tepera was covering the bag. But Baez's throw was off. He couldn't keep his foot on. And Max Muncy gets himself an RBI after reaching on the fielder's choice. And now the Dodgers lead it 2-1. Muncy with his 26th RBI of the season. Now here's Justin Turner batting, and the Cubs still not out of trouble yet. There are 2 outs. But Turner, a notorious run producer, batting 3rd in this Dodgers order. He takes ball 1. Well, I guess I should take that back. He's been notorious in seasons past, but this season he's batting .036 with runners in scoring position. And breaks spat. Look out. Descalzo still able to make the play. Justin Turner out at first. And the 7th inning's over. Meanwhile, the Dodgers string some hits together and base runners and get a run on the Max Muncy RBI fielder's choice. Moving to the 8th inning, it's the Dodgers 2 and the Cubs 1.
Your attention. Number 75.
And he will pitch. And Dave Roberts,
Alexander.
I mean, there are some question marks running through my head right now. Julio Urias made the final out of the 4th inning and then got replaced immediately in the 5th.
The center fielder.
And then Jimmy Nelson with runners on 1st and 2nd stayed in the game to sacrifice bunt them over. He ended up striking out, fouling off all 3 of his bunt attempts. And now he gets replaced coming into the 8th, which doesn't make too much baseball sense. Gavin Lux throws to Max Muncy. Out at first is Ian Happ. That's out number 1. To some of you that have been chatting in our group chat, I know one of you specifically mentioned that you didn't agree with the strategy, and really neither do we here at MLB Virtual Network. I guess all we can do is say sorry. But we're not in control. Anyway, here's Daniel Descalzo, 1 out, bases empty, facing Scott Alexander for the first time in this one. He takes ball 1.
1 ball, no strike.
You're watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two teams. The Dodgers leading in the 8th, 2-1. Descalzo, who's typically an on-base machine. He's been an on-base machine this season, but 0 for 2 against the Dodgers in this one. Facing Scott Alexander for the first time. The Cubs are 1.5 games back of the Brewers, who are first place in the NL Central right now. And the Dodgers are 1 game back of the Padres as of right now. But the Padres lost today to the Cardinals. So with the Dodger win, the Dodgers could be a half game back of the Padres at the end of the night. And one of their lockdown closers in Kenley Jansen is now warming up in the bullpen. I shouldn't say one of their. He's one of the most lockdown closers in the National League, but not implying that the Dodgers have more than one closer. Kenley Jansen is their only closer. 2-2 pitch, and that misses outside. Descalzo has run the count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitcher's spot due up next for the Cubs. 3-2. Chop foul, count still full, 3-2. Descalzo, former St. Louis Cardinal, played shortstop for them when he went to the Diamondbacks. He was converted to a second baseman and has taken those second base talents here to Chicago. And he strikes out swinging there. Scott Alexander.
The pitcher, number 52.
Now has 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning.
Tepera. Your attention, please.
And with that, the Cubs will send a pinch hitter up to the plate.
Number 13.
It's David Bote.
Bodie.
Bote, one of the younger players on this Cubs team, has done well since coming to the majors. And look at that, off the bench, a line drive. Gavin Lux stabbed that, though, out of the air. A hard hit ball results in an out. And David Bote is the hitter that ends the top of the 8th inning. No runs on no hits for the Cubs, no runners left on base. Moving to the bottom of the 8th inning, the Dodgers lead this one 2-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention,
Here's Jeremy
please.
Jeffress coming in now,
pitching
and he
for
will
Chicago,
pitch for the
number
Cubs,
24,
former Texas Ranger and
Jeremy
Milwaukee Brewer.
Jeffress.
Has a 6.43 ERA in 14 innings pitched. And he will face the middle of the Dodgers order.
The center fielder, Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger, Jock Peterson, and Corey Seager all scheduled to bat.
That's the ball.
They're all also left-handed hitters, so Jeffress, because of the new rule stating that all pitchers have to throw to a minimum of 3 hitters or end an inning, Jeffress will have to throw to all 3 left-handers before being subject to replacement.
The left fielder, number 31.
But he gets Cody Bellinger to line out there.
Peterson.
Some help there by a well-ranged play by Steven Souza Jr. And with 1 out, here comes Jock Peterson. Kyle Ryan and Trevor McGill are in the Cubs bullpen now, still throwing. On the ground and foul, count is 0-1 on Jock Peterson. Peterson participated in the Home Run Derby a couple times. Most notably last season, had an overtime duel with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They went into a couple overtimes, and Vladdy Jr. ended up outlasting him, hit more home runs. But Peterson, very big reason why Vladimir Guerrero Jr. might not have won against Pete Alonso, because certainly was tired after having to expand so much energy against Peterson in that round. Toward the middle, there's Baez. Throw to Anthony Rizzo, and there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th.
The batter, number 5.
Each team scored a run in the 4th inning. The Dodgers
Seager.
in the 7th got the bases loaded and found a way to push across a run. And so they've led since the 7th. And with 2 outs, here's Corey Seager, who doubled in the 2nd inning. That was his only hit. 1 for 3 in total in this game.
Ball, no.
And that pitch just missed.
1-0.
Counts 1-0. That misses low, counts 2 balls and no strikes. Corey Seager, the younger brother of Kyle Seager, who plays for the Seattle Mariners.
Ball.
Both Kyle and Corey came up as shortstops, but Seager found his way to play third base when he came to the majors. Seager's been the Dodgers shortstop for a few years now, ever since coming up.
3-1.
Counts 3-1 on him now. Three ball, 1 strike pitch on its way. Line drive towards center field, and Corey Seager has himself a 2-out single. Happ gets it into Descalso, and Will Smith coming up to the plate. But watch this replay. Right over the middle of the plate. He pulled off it a little bit too, but that allowed it to not hang up long enough for Happ to make a play, and it bounced in front of him. Here's Will Smith, who is 2 for 3 in this one, and fouls that first pitch off. Smith doubled and singled in this one. He scored the go-ahead run after Max Muncy reached on a fielder's choice. But Smith started that rally in the 7th with a single to lead off. 0-1 pitch. That misses outside, counts even 1-1. He also helped the Dodgers score in the 4th inning. Jock Peterson got hit by a pitch to lead off the inning, and then Will Smith doubled him to third. That allowed Gavin Lux to have the opportunity to hit a sac fly, which Peterson scored on. 1-2. Too high, counts even at 2.
Playing 2 balls, 2 strikes.
On the ground toward the middle, Javier Baez flips over to Descalso covering second. Out at second is Seager. And the 8th inning is over. Last chance for the Cubs coming up in the 9th. The Dodgers lead by a run. Here's Dave Roberts coming out of the dugout, and that indicates that there's going to be a double switch. Let's listen in on the specifics.
These changes for the Dodgers. Now pitching and batting in the 7th spot, number 74, Kenley Jansen. Now catching and batting ninth, number 15, Austin Barnes.
Here's Chris Bryant taking strike one. Kenley Jansen, one of the league leaders in saves. Austin Barnes is his catcher now. Will Smith taken out of the game. And the Cubs have the top of the order due up. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, and Javier Baez. Let's get to the bat. Counts 2-1. Kenley Jansen falls behind. Bryant 0 for 2 out of the Cubs' leadoff spot. He did work a walk earlier in the game. The Dodgers in position to win game 1 of this 3-game series. Each team will have an off day on Thursday, and then Friday each team will begin its own respective 3-game series. The Dodgers most notably playing the Padres over the weekend. These two teams at the top of the NL West right now. The Dodgers trailing by a game at this point, but with a win could trail by just a half game after the night's over. 3-2 pitch. Fouled away. Bryant extending this at bat. Right now the Cubs' tying run will at least be at the plate. And that's a leadoff walk issued to Chris Bryant. Kenley Jansen, not typically one who walks hitters. He does it here to lead off the 9th. Chris Bryant on base. Now here comes Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo is 0 for 3. He flew out in the 6th inning most recently. And he fouls that pitch off for strike one. Rizzo has had some success off Kenley Jansen in his career. 5 for 11, a couple home runs as well. Rizzo is now the go-ahead run. Tying run on base in the form of Chris Bryant. And the count's 0-2 on Rizzo. Oh, 2 pitch.
No.
That's ball one. Each of these teams are. The Cubs are a game and a half back of the Brewers, and the Dodgers or a game back of the Padres. On the ground left side. There's Seager to Lux. Back to Muncy. That's a double play. Bryant's out at second. And Rizzo's out at first. And now there is an issue. Chris Bryant. Uh-oh. He is in pain right now. Looks like there's something with his shin bone. Well, he's getting some help walking off, which is a good sign.
Now batting, shortstop.
But Bryant is hurt, and should there be a bottom of the ninth inning, he will not be out to play third base. Here's Javier Baez. The Cubs with one out to work with. Baez. Not a single hit in his career versus Jansen. 0-1 pitch. That finds the zone. No balls, 2 strikes on Baez. Strike 3, Baez takes all 3 strikes, strikes out, and that ends the ball game. The Dodgers win by a run in this one. Final score is 2-1. The Dodgers improve to 22-12. They're now a half game back of the Padres. The Cubs fall to 18-18. They're now 2 full games back of the Brewers. And pending how the Brewers do, will result in whether the Cubs are 1.5 games or 2.5 games back of the division lead. But a loss certainly doesn't help them gain any ground on the Brewers. Final score in this one, 2-1. Each team scored in the 4th inning. The Dodgers put up what we now know is the winning run in the 7th. Jimmy Nelson got the win out of the bullpen. He pitched 3 full innings and didn't allow a hit. Only let up 1 base runner. Ryan Tepera gave up the run in the 7th that allowed the Dodgers to win, so he gets the loss. Kenley Jansen got the save and worked around that walk, induced a double play, and then Baez struck out.
Time of the ball game,
and that allowed Jensen to earn the save. Quick scoring recap. The Cubs scored first in the top of the 4th inning. Javier Baez hit a double, then stole third. Wilson Contreras singled him home. In the bottom of the 4th inning, the Dodgers got a run on a Gavin Lux sacrifice fly. That tied the game at 1. And it went scoreless after that till the 7th inning when the Dodgers got the bases loaded thanks to 2 hits and a hit by pitch. And then Max Muncy grounded into a fielder's choice. He beat out the back end, though. That allowed a run to score, which turned out to be the winning run. Final score, Dodgers 2, Cubs 1. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. This game was brought to you by MLB The Show 20. Have a good night.